Welcome everyone, today is the day. Finally, we're going to be covering console versus PC with the new Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, both averaging about $500 a pop, at least for the mainstream versions. It has been rising in the comment section, just the overall question of whether or not it's worth it to upgrade to PC. So we're going to cover that as quickly as possible today. Price to performance is always a main consideration for me, and both of these new consoles are definitely impressive. The PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X can put out to 1080p at 120 FPS, which is very solid for the price. On top of that, these devices are capable of running the game and outputting a stream with mic and Facecam simultaneously. Now, there are definitely $500 to $600 pre-built PCs that can do this. Those same PCs, though, would struggle to run 1440 or 4K at 60 to 120 frames per second. And I also think that they would struggle to run those streams as seamlessly as the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X do. On another note, if I wanted to build a PC to match the capabilities of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, I'd be spending anywhere from $900 upwards of $1,200 to match that performance capability. And even then, I may still fall short. And that truly is a testament to the quality of design and the components put into these new consoles. Heck, if I wanted to rebuild a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X part for part, I'd be spending anywhere from $1,000 to $1,200 anyways. So that alone lets you know the value in these consoles. It gets an easy A as far as performance to price. Now, up until about 1.5 years ago, I was a console gamer. I only played on controller, and I finally wanted to give mouse and keyboard a shot. And the reason for this was because the majority of the high tier players, at least in competitive events, and people who just streamed on Twitch for games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, CSGO, Apex Legends, most of those high tier or tournament players were on mouse and keyboard, and I wanted to adapt and see if I could possibly improve as a player. Now, don't get me wrong, there are a ton of professional controller players that do very well in competition, but even those controller players are playing on PC for the performance benefits. And the fact does remain, though, that the majority of the high tier competitive players in just shooter genres, they're on mouse and keyboard. So at least for me, switching to PC was a gateway to self-improvement and an opportunity to start practicing on mouse and keyboard. I also needed a better editing PC. Now, I will further the argument for people out there looking at console versus PC in a competitive light. Anyone who's ever shopped graphics cards has heard the NVIDIA terms, frames win games. And this is definitely true. I threw my brother Dan Jams on an aim training program and continually switched the frame rates per second, fluctuating from 60 to 144 and 240 Hertz. And it was no surprise that he performed better at 240 frames per second. I've had a conversation around this topic with several of my friends who recently switched to PC, and they all say the same things. PC feels like a faster, stronger connection to the game, and they feel that switching to mouse and key has improved their capabilities as a player. Several of them switched back to console after the fact and said that it was unplayable from a performance standpoint. They had just gotten so used to 240 frames per second or 144 frames per second that going back to 60 or 30 FPS just felt horrible to play on. Now, I do bear in mind that the friends I'm referencing are all on PCs that are $1,500 or more. And that is important to note because in order to get the best out of a PC experience, you need a high-end PC. And it's very easy for a PC setup, like a $1,500 PC, and a high frame rate monitor to easily run you double, if not triple, what these new consoles will run you. Which finally brings me to the casual gamer's perspective. If you're just playing for fun, gaming with friends, need a solid entertainment system for yourself, the family, possibly the kids, console is 100% the way to go. And the pros for both of these consoles is seemingly never ending, so I'm probably gonna miss a few. Y'all can let me know if I do in the comment section below. But it's much easier to pull a console out of the box, have it plug and play, than to build your own PC. That is just a fact. Trust me, I built 2 of them. Consoles being plug and play is freaking awesome. These consoles are much more than just gaming systems and have been for a while, but you got your video streaming services, surfing the web, watching other people's streams, streaming yourself, recording your gameplay, that just keeps going. There's so much more that you can do on these new consoles. They are definitely faster than their predecessors, quieter than their predecessors, and cooler than their predecessors. So they're also more energy efficient than your mainstream gaming PCs. So that's definitely a bonus as well. I could probably keep going, but overall, from a casual gamer's perspective, the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X are worthy upgrades in the console realm of gaming. Now, I have to hop back over to the PC side of the argument and list what I believe to be one of the biggest cons to PC gaming, and that is when you get your first build, you really don't want to be shopping in the budget PC market. Anything that's like, you know, $1,000 or less, or sometimes even $1,200 or less, because of the way the pricing of PC components is right now, being that everything is marked up, you're not getting the most bang for your buck, and you're going to be wishing that you had upgrades to those components in your PC later on down the road, and then you're ending up taking apart your own PC and spending more money and upgrading the internal components one by one to improve your build, and it seems like that never ends until you finally got your end game PC built. And that's why I believe spending $1,500 or more is the way to go when you're stepping into PC gaming. And even then, when I bought a gaming PC, my first one that we reviewed here on the channel, I got like a $1,600 PC before the prices were horrible for components, and even then, I was upgrading my parts and improving my build. It seems like it's never ending. So that's one of the big cons I have to list for PC gaming, is that you really don't want to go budget, and you're going to end up doubling or tripling the price of a console just with a solid gaming PC itself. But in the end, is it worth switching from controller to keyboard and mouse? And for me, it definitely was. I've seen a major improvement in my gameplay and capabilities. I love having high frame rates that came with switching to PC, because it does feel like a better connection to the game during fast-paced gameplay. I also know that a lot of people switch to PC then keep playing on controller, and they excel that way. So console versus PC, in the end, it's a question of your desires as a gamer. If you're trying to be the best you can be, PC is definitely the route for you. Gaming, to some, is a sport, and like any sport, being on the best equipment possible is going to improve your capabilities as a player. But for people just looking to have fun and play with friends, the new console lineup is absolutely killer, and it still rings in the back of my mind that both of these new consoles are far outvaluing high-end PCs. But you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Are expensive gaming PCs worth it, or are these new consoles the way to go? If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, share the content. It is greatly appreciated. Notification Squad, you guys rock. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Peace.